Guys, we're having to play a little bit of catch up. It took a lot longer to make some of my videos than I would have thought, meaning that this is the 1300 subscriber special, even though we're closer to 1500 subscribers right now. I'm sorry about that. It took longer to make the jazz video than I would have thought, but even still, we are going to be looking at my 10 favorite Soundwave figures in my entire collection. Just to be clear, these have to be Soundwave figures, and they have to be figures I own currently in my collection. There are a lot of good Soundwaves out there. I don't own every single good Soundwave. So, just my personal opinion, just my personal collection. One of my favorite characters ever. It's between Soundwave and Thundercracker as to who is my actual favorite Transformer, so I'm a bit partial to the guy. But let's get straight into our top 10 Soundwaves. Number 10 is a pet favorite. I do really enjoy the one-step changer Earthspark Soundwave. I love this design for the guy. He turns to a stealth bomber. I love how blue has dominated him. You have the Decepticon logo becoming even more demonic, the shoulder pads. It's a wonderful design. Unfortunately, still hasn't gotten that great a figure. I mean, don't get me wrong. The one-step is impressive, and you do get this nice flying wing, but I would still like to one day see a better take on this design. Maybe in Generations. It's probably not going to happen in Earthspark itself because that's coming to a close, but at the very least we did get one Soundwave figure before they closed up shop. At number 9 is one of the most beloved core class figures ever, that being the Kingdom Soundwave. I know a lot of people really love this figure. I really love this figure. It is one of the best little Transformers ever to be released by Hasbro. You even have little things like the fact that the chest opens and you do have a small Laserbeak cassette. It doesn't transform, but look at how tiny this is. The figure looks amazing. It turns into the old boombox mode. It's a clever transformation that really does invoke the G1 figure. The guns look good. The head sculpt is to die for. It's a great little Soundwave. I know a lot of people who have said that this is their favorite Soundwave of all time. It's not quite that for me, but it's undoubtedly a great one. At number 8, talk about bang for your buck, it's the authentic Soundwave. So for $10, you get this Soundwave that towers over most Voyagers and even some leader class figures. A great feeling figure with good articulation, good joints. The paint here is sparse, but you get what you need. It's also the evergreen design, meaning that's essentially the Cyberverse Soundwave just blown up and given this great figure. The Authentics line has really gone downhill in recent years, but when it was really hitting its stride, doing figures like Wheeljack, Soundwave, and RC, it was a line that I would go into dollar stores trying to find. It was an exciting line, and this Soundwave was better than most. A great van mode, a great robot mode, and great heft. This is the type of figure that you should be making for kids. Still bulky, still worthwhile, still massive, but affordable. That's what I like in a toy made for kids. Number 7 is another pet favorite. Sometimes it feels like I'm the only person in the world who actually enjoyed Transformers Red when it was around, but I will always defend some of the figures. Megatron, Knockout, and Soundwave. This figure is great, incredibly posable. The materials don't feel super nice. I think that's the reason that this line ultimately died, is just they were using subpar plastic. But the sculpting, the articulation cuts, the pulls for the accessories, it was all on point. Soundwave is an incredible figure. Voyager-sized, cartoon accurate, and hey, it's a Soundwave that you can have holding the Laserbeak cassette, and it kind of looks like he's playing Yu-Gi-Oh! What's not to like? I know he doesn't transform, but that doesn't change the fact that he's one of the most posable and good-looking Soundwaves on the market, and he still goes for pretty cheap, so he gets points with me. At number 6 is the Warrior Class Cyberverse Soundwave. Now yes, Cyberverse Soundwave did receive a deluxe, but it had a lot of kibble, and I don't like the look of the figure. It was slightly more cartoon accurate, but it lost so much personality. This Soundwave though, just look at this head sculpt. Not necessarily accurate to the cartoon, but it's so great, menacing, beautiful. One of my favorite Soundwave head sculpts ever. The articulation's alright, the truck mode actually looks really nice, but here's my favorite thing about this figure. It's a gimmick figure, most Warrior Cyberverse figures were, but you twist this, boom, Laserbeak comes out the chest. If you just want to send Laserbeak back in, you just put that back in, boop. But that gimmick, it's unintrusive, You still have an amazing Soundwave figure, but just the idea of Laserbeak actually flying out the chest the way he does in the cartoons, it's wonderful. One of the best gimmicks ever put on a Transformer, the best gimmick you could give Soundwave aside from the original cassette Transformers. I love everything about this little Soundwave, and I hate that he's not given his proper due more often. People might hate me for this, but at number 5, it's the Netflix Soundwave. It's an incredible Soundwave. It's the best looking Soundwave we've ever had at mass retail. He has the cassette gimmick, he turns into the boombox, the figure looks and poses like a dream. That's all true. That's all right. I agree with you on every single one of those points. But there's other Soundwaves I like more. At the end of the day, yes, I like the cassette tape player. It's cool. It's not my favorite mode for Soundwave. It's not what I grew up with. I'm sorry. I love G1 Soundwave. I love the robot mode. I love the character. I love the voice. Those are all components of Soundwave that I never want to get rid of. But just it being the best version of a G1 style Soundwave isn't enough to make me instantly say it's the best Soundwave ever. It's a Soundwave a lot of people want. It's a Soundwave that I'm so happy a lot of people are going to be able to get in Legacy United as a leader class figure with a lot of cool cassettes. It's a perfect display Soundwave. It is my main display Soundwave, but it's not my favorite Soundwave. This is going to make me look like a complete hypocrite, but at number 4, it's the original G1 Soundwave. Say what you will about G1, right? Those figures, they tend to age pretty poorly, but Soundwave here, he's still solid. His articulation would be basic by today's standards, but it's still acceptable. The robot mode is gorgeous, the transformation's clever, the tape deck is a good vehicle mode, his guns look incredible, he has the cassette still, he even has little dials for when he's in cassette mode so that you can turn the thing on or off, set the volume, good little gimmicks. This Soundwave stands the test of time, more so than even the G1 Optimus Prime, I'd argue. This Soundwave is timeless, a figure that you could put in any Transformers collection and it would still resonate. I love this Soundwave. It is one of my favorite G1 figures, it's one of my favorite Soundwave figures, and I think it really does stay a lot that this figure is still so good after 40 years of this franchise being around. Be honest, you knew he was going to make it into the top 3. Masterpiece Soundwave is a work of art. Still arguably the best Soundwave figure of all time. I know a lot of people really enjoy Acoustic Wave. I've messed with him, he's fine. I still love this. The perfect blend of cartoon and toy, the darker blues, the more squared off edges, the way meaner head sculpt with the yellow visor. It's such a weird thing, I didn't grow up with the yellow visor. But because of the G1 toy in this Masterpiece, I prefer Soundwave with the yellow. It helps that Masterpiece Laserbeak is one of the best accessories ever made. It came with this Soundwave. And if you got the US release that was sent out by Toys R Us, you would have gotten Rumble, Ravage, and Frenzy, and Buzzsaw. All 4 of them alongside that Laserbeak. I got the original release, meaning I just got my Laserbeak, but it's still such an eye-opening, mind-blowing figure. When I was a young collector, meaning when I was 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, I thought that if I could get Masterpiece Soundwave, I'd finally have a collection I could be happy with. All these years later, I don't subscribe to that type of thought. I think that if you keep chasing white wells, you're just going to make your collection a chore. But I can't lie, when I got this figure a few years ago, it really did make my collection feel that little bit more complete. A holy grail that has never let me down and is still one of my favorite figures in my entire collection. We need to lower the camera again for number 2. At number 2, it's the Iron Factory Sonic Wave. So Iron Factory, one of my favorite third-party companies ever. They're right up there with Planet X and Mastermind Creations for me. Alongside that, it's an IDW-inspired Soundwave. Legend scale, but this is unlike any Soundwave figure we've had before or since. It has its own energy, its own style, its own personality. I adore this figure. This is the reason why so many of my many figures of videos have the line, I really need to catch up on Iron Factory. It's a third-party company I fell in love with a very long time ago, sold off most of it, but I do need to go back and reclaim some of these figures because they're always so solid. This Soundwave was one of their standout figures of the last few years, and to this day, I think it would be a worthy addition to any shelf. A great tiny Soundwave that brings its own type of magic to your collection. If you've watched my videos for long enough, number one should not be a surprise. It's the deluxe War for Cybertron Soundwave put out by Generations. This is my childhood Soundwave. It was one of my first Transformers ever. This is my favorite Transformers figure. It is my favorite figure in my entire collection. If I got rid of everything else, if every other little thing had to go, this figure I would keep. I love this Soundwave. I take him with me basically everywhere I go. He goes with me on vacations. There's been times where I put him in the car whenever I have a stressful day and I just need a good luck charm. It is the single most important figure to me, and it's because I've had it for so many years. So many good experiences and bad experiences. There's been a lot of times where some pretty bad stuff has come my way, and to help cheer myself up, I would pull this figure out and just play with it for a little bit. It is my single favorite thing I own, and it always will be. It's well loved, it's getting loose in its joints, it's never been the best figure, the transformation's a bit finicky, the joints a bit loose, he has a lot of kibble issues, especially with these tires in the back. But none of that matters. At the end of the day, it's my favorite Soundwave design. It's my favorite Soundwave figure. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. What a weird thing to say, and yet it's not wrong. It is my favorite inanimate object on this entire planet. This was, is, and always will be my Soundwave. It's the Soundwave that I love the most, the Soundwave that's always going to have a spot in the collection, the Soundwave that means the most to me. It is just an incredible figure that even now, as an adult, all these years later, I still remember what it felt like being that little kid on Christmas morning, unwrapping and finally getting a figure of my favorite Transformer. It's a good little toy. I don't really have any more to say about it. Bringing my three favorite Soundwaves back in, it's just incredible that all three of these figures I got at different points in my life, and yet they're all special to me for different reasons. They're incredible, incredible toys of an amazing character. And I'm just happy I was able to make a video like this. I don't want to get too sappy. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm getting a bit melodramatic here. But thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for 1,300 subscribers. This is a very belated video. We're going to do a top 10 RC figures right after this so I can celebrate the 1,400. But just thank you guys all for sticking around, being here, enjoying the videos. It means a lot when I can wake up in a morning and maybe not feel too good, but I see a comment of someone who really enjoyed a minifigures of video or enjoyed one of the reviews. It feels good, man. It feels good, and you guys are the ones allowing me to have that feeling. So, you're all incredible. Thank you so much. We'll see what we get up to next time.